young black
A young black
equestrian.
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 black equestrian.
Equestrian.
Black equestrian.
Equestrian.
Black equestrian.
I'm a young black equestrian.
I am a young black equestrian.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Young Black Equestrians with your hosts, Abriana Johnson.
And Caitlin Gooch.
Today we have Dr. Cezar, did I say that right? Martinez with us. She is a veterinarian. She's got her own little double Z Corral. I'm super excited to hear more about that part. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
If you want to briefly just tell us about yourself, how you kind of got into horses and everything like that.
All right. Well, thank you again for having me on this. Really was excited to be able to be part of this with you guys. So my background, my folks are from Louisiana. Southwest part of Louisiana, and they both grew up on a farm, pretty much rice field apart from each other. I was born actually in Chicago because when they got of age, they moved to the city, and born in Chicago. But when I guess I was 5, my dad ended up moving. We moved to Michigan and got some land. And I always tell kids, or when I present, that I wasn't thrown in a swimming pool to learn how to swim. I was thrown on a horse to learn how to ride at 5. So that's why when I got to college and people would be like, "You don't swim?" I'm like, "No, we didn't go swimming. We went riding horses." so that's pretty much how I started with horses, was at age of 5, and pretty much riding Western, not so much English. I did 4-H. Growing up from 8 to 18. And then that's also how I got a part of learn about the vet med side, because they had animal science part on there. And I ended up doing livestock judging while I was in 4-H, and I did meat judging. I went to nationals for that in Kansas City. Wow. One of the only girls. So the parents were pretty always upset with me because they were like, "Why are you here?" So yeah, that's pretty much how I started out with horses, and went to vet school after I went to Michigan State as undergrad, and then I had thought that I was just going to work on horses once I get out of school, and I did for a little bit, but then I realized how much if I just work on horses as a vet, I won't be able to have my own so much and have the love and have them around me so much. So that's where now I'm a veterinarian still, but I work for the government. I'm in charge of animals coming into our country, especially a lot of horses coming back and forth for competition. And I have now our own farm, and we have horses here that I love to share with the community to get more kids to come out and learn about animals. So that's kind of the reason why I kind of started it now. So everyone comes out here and think it's like Noah's Ark. There's a little bit of so
that is like ultimate goal though. Like one of everything or 2 of everything.
Yeah, and when people come out here and they're like, "You a veterinarian? You live like this?" And because I'm in a camper. And so everyone's like, "You have a trailer?" And I was like, "It's a camper." Okay. Yeah, and I'm like, and it's okay.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that at all.
Not at all.
At all. So what made you make the move to Maryland? Was it the government job?
Yep. So actually, when I was in vet school, right when I got into vet school, my mom and dad moved back to Louisiana, and started to live where, because my grandpa had passed and my grandma was just there with the acreage and she didn't want to deal with it no more. So Dad said we're moving back to Louisiana. And he's like, come get your horse. And I was like, I'm at college. I can't have my horse here. And he's like, well, then they come with us to Louisiana. So that's what happened then. And then while I was in vet school, because that was kind of hard because I didn't have my horse no more. I didn't have family with me at all. I was just in school. So it was pretty hard for me. And I actually failed my second year and I had to do it again. So yeah, which was fortunate that I had that opportunity to do it again, and that they allowed me to, and that I was able to graduate, which was, you know, still a challenge because then some people, they knew that I had failed a year. So they had this impression that I would never be nothing still because I held back, I guess you'd say. So yeah, so I ended up actually getting a job in the government while I was in school because I needed the money because my mom and dad, I'm the last of 6 kids and they didn't believe in college. Yeah, and they didn't understand, like, they're, why do you keep going to school? Why don't you get a job? And I was like, I'll be a doctor. And they're like, it don't take that long to be a doctor. I'm like, yes, it does. It takes a long time. And they're like, look, there's this guy, his Doogie Howser. He, you know, is a doctor on TV. I was like, that's TV. That's not the same. And so it was just really, you know, they were like, well, if you want to do this college thing, you on your own. You go do it. So I had to try to figure out how to pay a lot of my stuff in the beginning. And that's where I fortunately got a job with the government while I was a student. And then I just kept growing from there and keeping my networks available in the government. And then I started with a job first in Michigan with the government after Michigan State and so forth. And then I was kind of told that, like, I couldn't make more money unless I moved. And I needed to move to headquarters. And that's where Maryland is, where USDA, the main headquarters is DC and Maryland. So that was the thing. I was like, well, I guess I'll move. And which was totally fine because Michigan is real cold.
Yes,
like so cold. Yeah. And when I moved here, oh my gosh, it was just, the weather is amazing. It's just, it'll snow and then an hour later it's gone. So it's so nice. And what I like also about Maryland is that it's so diverse. Like there's so many different types of people here. And when I was in Michigan, it was very, very black and white to me. And they would be like, and they would look at me as like, where are you? You look exotic or whatever. So I was just like, oh my God, I had to go explain this whole long thing. But here it's just, everyone's like, just cool. So I really like it over here. So it's been nice.
Cool. At what point did the camper come in?
So I had a house, a big old house in the suburban area of Maryland, with a underground pool and everything. And I had my horses from Louisiana. I had them, but they were being boarded down the road. So my intent for the longest was not to get married or have kids or anything like that. It was to always find a place where I could have my horses right next to me again. And so finally we find this house it's just 5 acres. Over here, everyone's like, wow, you got 5 acres. But in the South, everyone's like, well, that's nothing. So I was like, it's a lot, okay? But yeah, but my family down there, they're like 5 acres, really. So, but in order to get that 5 acres, I had to get a smaller house. So we went from a 3,000 square foot house to a 900 square foot house, which I was like, that's okay, that's fine, you know, because then people ain't gonna be coming over so much because they ain't got no place to sleep unless they want to sleep in a barn. And but that didn't happen. People still kept coming over. And and my mom and dad, we would end up sleeping in my son's bunk beds and stuff. And they're not like, my mom and dad has our room and everything. And we're just like, oh my gosh, I gotta do something. I gotta figure out something. So I was like, well, let me get this camper. And I found it on Facebook, got it for half the price. And I was like, look, mom and dad, I got y'all a camper. And they're like, it's cold, or it's like the water don't, and I'm like, oh my God. I was like, fine, we'll stay in there when you guys come. So that's where the camper came in. That,
Oh.
yeah, so
Well,
people
that's
now.
nice. That's nice that you accommodate your family, though. Jeez.
I didn't have a choice. Yeah, but I mean, my mom and dad, thank God, you know, my dad's 80, my mom's 77. They still want to travel and come out last year. And I think that's the thing. We did too much last year, which was seeing each other. So, but they enjoy it, and they like coming up here, and they like being with us. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be with the horses or anything like that, or living this type of life, because they're the ones who gave that to me. Because they wouldn't let me do any sports in school. It was like, go ride a horse.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's okay. I'm completely happy, and I hope to God that the kids I have, I can do that to them. So,
Right.
because, I'm just afraid that they're like, no, I don't like horses. I'll be like, why? What's wrong with you?
Right. Well, choose one of those animals out on the ark to like.
Yeah.
If you don't like the horses, you can like a cow, okay?
Yeah, exactly. You're like, you going to show something here. Yeah.
That's so funny. So what are some of the challenges you've faced kind of in the veterinary industry? I don't know if I shared, but I'm pre-vet.
Oh, okay.
So I'm always really interested to talk to Black female veterinarians, especially ones in horses, because I've been told many times that that's not the way to go.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I was told that, shoot, all the time. Even when I was in 4-H, and they were like, oh, that's gonna be so hard, and you're so small. And you know, working with horses is not a woman thing. That's more for men to do and deal with, and you're gonna get beat up and punched, you know, and all this by horses, which, yeah, you do, but you just, you know, shift it off and then keep going. That's how we learn with riding horses. That's why every time somebody falls off here, I'm like, go get back on. They're like, what? I fell off. I'm like, yeah, but you need to go get back on. And I was like, because no, we don't do it like that here.
Yeah.
But yeah, it can be a challenge. And I think it's more of a challenge when someone points it out to you that you're different. Because I would always go to the Horse Vet Association meetings. And so they're, you know, sometimes they'll say one thing or something like that, because a lot of people think I'm from Mexico. And so, so they're always like, you like margaritas, right? I'm like, I was like, yeah, I do. And they're like, because you're from Mexico. And I was like, no, I mean, no, I just like them. I'm like, so yeah, so it's just those kind of things that you're like, dang, why did they have to do that? Or why did they say that? You know, but I think the thing is that I obviously, I mean, I'm always about someone. I'm always the type that if someone says I can't do it, I'm gonna do it. And that's how it was like with the vet school thing. When I failed that 1 year, you know, everyone was like, oh, she going to Louisiana. She gonna have to go break horses again. And she ain't gonna be that doctor she was talking about. And, but I was like, I can't, I gotta keep going. I gotta keep pushing, because I can't go back. And I'm like, cause they are just gonna be whining and complaining about me and stuff. So yeah, it was hard, because there were some other people that failed that year too. And I see them at the Gap, at the mall shop, are working, and they're like, yeah, I'm living a good life now. I'm happy. And I was like, God, I'm like super stressed because I'm in school, but they're like looking like they're happy. I'm like, they can't be happy. I was like, no. And I was like, that's okay. I'm gonna keep going. But yeah, you know, people will say certain things, and then I just kind of just let it go, because you can't let it get to you, because if you do and you point out every single little thing, then that's when they're gonna be like, oh, she's that type of person, or something like that. Because I remember in vet school, there was a guy was like, well, you got in before I did because you were meeting that quota. And I was like, what? I'm like, what quota? He's like, because you're not white. And I'm like, that's not why I got in before you. And I was like, and he's like, yeah, it was. And I'm like, God, but it's just those little things that you just go like, you know what? They just don't understand. So it's okay. And that's where you just let things go, because you can't, and that's where a lot of people would say, because I worked the horse protection program for 8 years in USDA, and I was dealing with a lot of people from Tennessee and Alabama, and with their Tennessee walkers, and they would sore them, and like hurt their feet and stuff. And oh yeah, they were always coming at me, and but usually the person that takes that position is only there for 2 years, but I did it for 8, and that's where everyone would call me a duck, because I'd always let stuff roll off my back because I wouldn't let anyone get to me, because I'm like, I'm not. And luckily I had a really good mentor, which was only the very few Black veterinarians that was a leader in USDA, Dr. Tester Gibson. And he would help school me. He would tell me, because when I came into the position, that's when I came to DC. From Michigan, I was wearing like my plaid shirt and my Wranglers, and and I thought, we're going to a horse show. That's what I gotta wear. And he had came and told me, he was like, I'm gonna need you to stop wearing those tight jeans. And I was like, what? And he's like, they need to look at this, not that. And I was like, okay. He's like, so start wearing suits or khakis, things like that. And I'm like, okay. But he would, and I appreciate that he was real with me, because that's so needed, because I wouldn't have known no difference. And he and then we would see other employees that be showing something or whatever, and I'd be like, you ain't seen nothing to her. He's like, I can't help her. I know I can help you. So, but yeah, that's what's really helpful, to make sure you got a mentor, that someone's gonna like coach you and help you out, and not like give up on you, because that's so needed. Like, because you can't, it's hard being out there by yourself. But yeah, I just not let things get to me, because, and I always think, after so long and being in a position for so long, and getting of age and older, like, oh, it's going to change. It's not going to happen no more. No, it still does. And so, like, I applied for a position for another leadership position. And I tried to talk about like why I didn't, be considered for it. And I felt like in the end, it was basically because I'm different.
Yeah. Understood.
Yeah. So and it was kind of unfortunate, because I was like, man, I'm like, because I kept like, it's kind of like asking like a boyfriend, like, why you break up with me? What I do? And they're like, well, and you're like, okay, this is what it was.
Yeah. You finally get down to the answer.
Yeah, because I'm like, my interview was good, and what didn't? Don't make no sense. So, so yeah. So, and I mean, that's the thing, is like, we are all trying in the veterinary profession, or there's many of us trying. Like, we have the Multicultural Vet Association, the Black DVM Network, so many things that we're trying to keep connected with each other, because it's a very small community, still very, very small, and we gotta be, help each other out and talk to each other, because that is the only way to keep going, and keep pushing, and that's why I started this farm and where I'm living, so I can help share with the community, and hopefully in the DC area, kids about, learning how to ride horses. So yeah.
So do you provide like lessons at the farm?
Yeah, for Western. Yep. Yeah, I can do, we just started. So, like, I guess you'd say last year was just friends and family coming over. And then that's when my brother was like, you need to start like a business, because everybody just coming over here. Like, we would have parties like every weekend. And so yeah, so that's where it was just like, and we noticed too how the horses we have are very, very, very gentle. Like, I got 2 thoroughbreds off the track, and like the kids can just walk up to them and pet them, and they like know not to step on anybody or anything, even though you try to tell kids like, don't go behind them, get over here and like watch your feet and stuff, but it's like they know not to like step on them or something. So that's what's real nice. And that's when I was like, yeah, maybe we could share, these animals with kids and stuff, and let them feel like comfortable around them. So, and that's where we have 2 cows as well. And we've been like feeding them directly and stuff, so they get used to us and everything. Of course, every time people come over, they're like, when you gonna butcher them? You're like, like, I'm like, no, probably not.
These are part of the farm,
They're part of the
not for
family.
food.
Cows are friends, not food.
Yeah, don't always gotta be like, they don't always gotta be food. So yeah.
That
So,
reminds me of the pig at our farm. One of the pigs got out. It was my uncle's. He lives further down the path that my parents' house is on. And two of the pigs got out and they went to the farm. And somebody took a picture. We have a group chat with all the boarders, and they were like, "Who wants tacos tonight?"
I better leave that pig alone. He didn't mean it.
I know I had a hard time trying to get a sitter over here for my kids because we were medicating a rooster and I had it in a cage in the house. And it started crowing. I was like, I'm so sorry. I was like, he's not gonna do that all day, but he just kept doing it. And I was like, oh my God, shut up. I can't work here. I can't. And I'm like,
oh my gosh.
I'm sorry. I was like, forget it. So that's when my husband's like, I'll take care of the farm and take care of the kids. And I was like, all right, yeah, because we can't get nobody to stay here.
That's funny.
That is so funny. I feel that way sometimes. I have 7 animals and they're not like strange. I mean, cats, dogs, horses. But then I always feel like, oh my God, it's so much on somebody. Like nobody's going to want to come out here. Nobody's going to want to do anything. But it's
I
really
know.
bad. Luckily, I have Caitlin.
Yes.
Well, that's good. That's good. And our neighbor, she's and her husband, they're cool with, because they got chickens and they actually took one of our roosters to be with their chicken, and but they're cool. They'll like look out for us and be like, so and so's out or so and so's this, and so that's what's nice. And I keep trying to ask them for their pasture though, because they have a good acreage. I was like, so y'all don't even need that. Like you could just
Redraw the lines.
Right.
Put it in mine.
Don't you get bored with mowing that?
Right,
Nice.
let the horses do it.
Yeah, let them eat it.
Environment.
I told him that this weekend. He was like, here she goes again. I was like, well, mowing it for what? Nothing. So yeah.
I know.
So where are you pre-vet at?
Well, I did my undergrad at State and just graduated with my master's in One Health from UF. So
Okay.
that was like 2 weeks ago. So I'm just pre-vet here in North Carolina still. But I don't think I'm gonna apply this year. I think I'm gonna apply next year because we got a lot going on with the podcast and some other things I'm doing. And I think my family would be like, more school, seriously. I'm just gonna take a break, take a breather, and then get everything done. I am determined to bring in a paycheck during vet school.
Mm-hmm.
I'm setting myself up for that. So it's happening and I don't have to like do a lot of extra work.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I have and which is funny, my horse vet that I have that deals with the imports, the horses coming into the country.
Mm-hmm.
Her name's Amber Hedden. She's in North Carolina. I think she graduated from North Carolina State.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know her.
Yeah, you probably do. Yeah,
That's
she's
pretty awesome.
Yeah, when oh my God, I was so happy when I saw her come through the interview room. I was like, thank you. I'm you. I was like, we're done.
You're chosen.
I was like, you're gonna be the horse vet, and then you're going to those horse conventions, and you're gonna be okay. Because I was like, oh, no. And that's the thing is like, it's like so many people always like, I want to be the only one, and I'm like, no, I want to spread this out. And I'm like, I'm like so happy. Amber was like not afraid of like, I don't want to deal with these horse people. Be like, she's like, no, I'll do it. I got it. I'm like, thank you. Oh, so happy. So, but yeah, she's in she's based out of she's based out of our office here in Maryland, but she's in North Carolina. So, but yeah, we talk right now all the time. So
Yeah. So what exactly does your job entail there? Do you have to like do physical exams upon import, or what's it
so
look like?
I don't. I actually we have staff at all the different individual ports, like especially like Miami, LA, and New York. And we have quarantine centers there. And so we have veterinarians that work there directly. And they're the ones who's handle the horses and all the different animals. And then we here at headquarters deal with more of the policies and the political stuff. Like if there's like, for instance, if someone is upset because their horse maybe tested positive for a disease and so forth, and sometimes they'll go to their congressman and we got to deal with their congressman and talk to them about it and so forth. So we deal with the policy side of things here. It's more pencil pushing, I guess you say, but it's more of having to like, make sure we got all the decisions made so they can do their job out there at the quarantine facility. So, so yeah, and I did work the court because and that's the thing. In order to move up in the government, you have to do more of director or leading and being able to be in DC or close to DC. So that's how it has to go to make more money. Because when I do go to the quarantine facility, like you get to be with the horses and everything, but it's you do make less money.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll go back up there. So, but then too, when they told me that I couldn't have my own horses as well when I was in the field because I'm working in a quarantine. And so I was like, oh yeah, no, I can't. I'm not doing that. And that's what happened when I went to Dubai for a year and did an internship there on their horses. And they wanted me to stay. They're like, you can, because I made crazy money there. But they were like, but you can't have your own horses. And I was like, yep, I got to go home. I was like, I can't be here. So, and then also too, they didn't like my American way of acting. So, because I was like, no, I got to go home. Like, I can't.
Yeah. The year was a great year.
Yeah, it was great. Good culture, good, experience. But they thought I needed anger management. So,
oh my gosh, a woman that speaks up. How dare she?
Yeah. And one of the guys, the grooms there, because he'd always like, there's this Indian guy, and he would always just look around like holding a horse. So it was just like someone got kicked or bit, and one time I got bit, and I was like, nope, I don't want him holding my horses no more. I was like, go get the horse. I don't want him. And so he came up to me and he said, he's like, Dr. Rachel, 10 years I work on horses. And he put it in my face, and I just jumped at him, and I was like, and they were like, oh my God. I was like, no, get his ass out. Oh my God, I went off. I was just like,
they crazy like, American.
Yeah. Like, why did you act? And I was like, it's just my American way, I guess. And I was like, but no, he put his hands in my face. You don't put your hands in my face. And so
yeah.
So that's why they were like, okay. But it made them respect me after that. So
yeah, you do what you need to do, especially in a place where you are the minority in more ways than one. Oh yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. So, but it's good to get those experiences, see all the different places, but it was good to come back home. So I am so upset. I had a birthday trip to Dubai planned for this year, and it got canceled.
Oh no!
Yeah, canceled, and I was just like, we put horses on the itinerary. Like I was like, I know y'all want to ride a camel. I'll do it. I'll do the camel, like just for pictures. But we need to find a barn out there because I want to see a sultan with a Aktele, whatever it's called. Like I just wanted to be fancy Dubai horses, okay? And that's not happening. So that makes sense.
Maybe next year.
Maybe next year.
Yeah. And you should go when the Dubai World Cup is going on if you can.
Is it gonna be more expensive?
And no, it's actually it's free. Well, it's not like the Kentucky Derby because it's free to anyone go there.
Oh.
So because it's the invitational race.
Mhm.
So I mean, it ain't gonna be free to get there.
Right. True. Yeah, I was already prepared to shell out, and then they were just like, "No, just kidding."
Yeah. Well, maybe then you'll get it if you can get an internship like I did. I went for a year.
Yeah.
Dude, but I was so like when I got my ticket for the first plane to get on to go there, because it was like I was just in Michigan and Louisiana, that's it. And then I get to go to the Middle East, and I saw my ticket and it said 1E, and I was like, they put me in the first seat like I'm a little girl. I can't believe I'm getting in the first seat. Ugh. And then I get in there and it's first class, and I was like, oh my god, I'm first class. And I'm like trying to call everyone. I was like, look, the seat is so big, I can fit another person in here. I was like, oh my god. And they were like, this man was sitting next to me. He's like, are you okay? I'm like, I've never
Is this your first time?
before. I was like, I can't believe this. So he's just like, okay. They're like, would you like wine? And I'm like, yes. Is it free? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, oh my god, I can't breathe. Oh yeah.
Funny.
It was so, I was just like, wow. It's like, I'm like, and then the guy, he had my, like, the little card with my name. And I was like, that's me. That's me. Oh my god, that's me. And he was like,
I know they were probably like, what is wrong with this woman?
I was like, oh. But then you get outside and it was like, oh my god. It was hot. It was just hot. And I was like, oh, good gosh, why is it so hot? And they were like, this is the weather. And I'm like, oh.
You did it for a whole year. That's amazing.
I know. Couldn't believe it. So,
Wow.
and that was another thing. A lot of them said I wouldn't get through it. And so, but I was like, no, I'm staying. Yeah. Yeah, it was hard because I had never been away from my family that long. And my boss there, he was from Florida. And so he had, for Christmas, his wife had made me a pecan pie. And so I started crying. I was like, how did you know I love this? I was like, they're like, well, because, you say your family's from Louisiana. I was like, oh my God, it's beautiful. Yeah.
That is so funny.
So yeah, so if you do want to go see horses in Dubai, I do know some people there still. So even though it was a long time ago, I still know some people. So
yes, I will definitely take you up on that because I was this close.
Man,
the corona.
Yes, the corona. So, but yeah. And then are you guys? You ever come up to Maryland?
I was going back and forth to Maryland like 3 years ago, but I haven't been back since. I was doing some training up there for the rodeo.
Oh, okay.
It was a lot of fun.
That's good.
No, I've only been up there to visit family, like nothing horse related. But I haven't been up there in a long time. I have a sister that works at the Pentagon, so the highest we go up is Virginia at this point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I do have a lot of friends that have well, I said a lot when there's only one that I'm thinking of. I'm sorry. He just moved down here from Maryland, and so we kind of have a connection there because he's into horses and has horses up in Maryland, so he goes back and forth a lot.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so what vision do you have kind of for the future of the ranch? I know that we talked about it a little bit, but do you want to, I guess you do want to get more acreage, but like what do you see kind of in the future of Double Z Corral?
So in the future, I'm hoping to start having like camps either on the weekend or during the week or something like that, and have kids come out. I just need to start doing more advertising, especially with like schools and stuff, that because I would prefer like schools from the DC area and from the city population to come out to learn about these animals. So I think weekend camps would probably be what the start is. But for now, that's what I've been doing, is like posting stuff on Facebook about, you know, what animals we have going on and stuff. I do right now also teach a veterinary assistant lab with our community college. And we're trying to broaden that out even more. And that's why I'm hoping to like collaborate more with them on having kids come out to the farm as well. They did come out right before the COVID. And we had like, they came out and saw I was supposed to be showing the class about husbandry and how to work with horses, but they're from age 17 to 60, my class. But they all were so like glass-eyed, like, and googly, like so happy to see all these animals. And I was like, all right, well, I guess we'll teach another time. They were like, take my picture. I'm holding a chicken. And we can take a picture. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, all right, well, like I didn't realize how much like they would be so like happy. But that's the thing, you know, animals make people happy and calm them down and stuff. So that's why like our neighbors are always walking by and coming to pet the horses, and I yell at them like they like carrots and pine nut Cheerios. So
bring snacks.
Right. Bring snacks. So, but yeah, that's what I'm hoping to broaden it more. So then we can have at least start doing weekend camps, or even, you know, when people, because there's been some people that has asked like, you know, can I bring my daughter out to learn about horses? Like, yeah, we can do that. We just we got our equine license through the Maryland Department of Ag, so we can have people come out and ride, and then I can show them, you know, how to do that and stuff. And also yeah, I mean, the thing is that you can also relive on the road we're on is like real quiet. There's not that many people around stuff, so people can ride down the road too and so forth. So it's not too bad. It's a pretty calm area. But that's what I'm hoping, is just to get kids and stuff to start getting more comfortable. Since my son is only 5, he can't really do 4-H right now yet so much. So that's why I was hoping that like eventually, like for 4-H, you know, you have to have a riding area or a place to come ride horses. So I was thinking, I was like, oh, well, I could help with that. But one thing definitely I want to just make sure is try to get the DC kids to come out here more. So I think that's what I'd like to try to get kids that don't get to see animals so much to get to see them. So yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, that's what my hope is to do. I mean, if I didn't have to have my full-time job, I would do it. But I need the full-time job to do this.
To support it. Exactly. Exactly. That's the start of every sentence of this. If I didn't have to work.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah.
Life would be better for us equestrians if we didn't have to work.
Oh yeah. And especially like if the animals don't want to act like kids. Like right now I have one that has a hoof abscess, and so I was just like,
same.
I'm like, why? I'm like,
yeah, I'm dealing with the same thing. I came off my horse, hurt my hip, couldn't ride for like 2 weeks, and then I was like, I'm gonna ride today, and I went outside, and he was like,
yeah,
what?
Yeah, I saw, and it's a thoroughbred, and I saw him running, and his head's like flipping, and I was like, why is he running like that? And I'm like, he's lame, and I'm like, oh my God. So yeah, and so my husband had to just go to Tractor Supply. I was like, go give me some Epsom salt, go give me this, give me that. I'm like, you gotta do this. So, and he's like, there's no hoof knife here, and I was like, I couldn't believe I don't have a hoof knife. I was like, oh my God, must have lost it or something. But he had to go. There was no hoof knife at Tractor Supply, so he had to go to another one. I was like, you gotta get me one. So
do you miss being in regular practice and general practice?
Probably just because when something does happen with one of my horses, I have to be like, all right, okay. How do you do this now? Because I don't do it all the time now. So I was like, oh my God, make sure I don't bleed them. Don't, put the tube in. So, but yeah, I think because that's probably the only thing I miss of it. I don't miss it so much because it was other people's animals. And you don't know how they're going to be, because that's where you would get kicked or bit and stuff, because you can't be like not on your A game. You have to be on and be awake, because that's the times that anytime I've gotten bitten or kicked is because I wasn't on. I was either hungover or tired or something. So I was like, dang it. And because they'll be like, oh, they kicked you? And I was like, yeah, but I did it. It's my fault. And they're like, it's your fault. No, that animal's crazy. And I'm like, no, I went around the wrong way. I should have realized. So, because that's how people would always say about my Rottweiler that I had forever. They were like, he bit you. He's tasted blood. You got to kill him. I was like, no. I'm like, he's a Rottweiler for one. And I'm like, you got to treat him like a lion. I was like, so just look at him. Don't pet him. Yeah. Like, he's for protection. Okay. So he's not like a little chihuahua or Fifi. So, but yeah, no, I mean, the thing is that too is like, because you get all dirty and messy, and I did not like the on-call part, like the emergencies and stuff. That's what got me frustrated in Dubai, because it was every night I was having to deal with a colicky horse, because their management of horses is different. They would give it dates or onions or something, like thinking that it's going to help them. And a lot of times I'd get horses that were like about to die, and then they want me to try to save them, and it barely would ever happen. So, but it was like every night, and like every time we try to like do something, they'd be like, you got to go back. And I'm like, oh, I don't know about this. Like, I don't like this. All of a sudden, like, try to plan to go somewhere, and then nope, can't go. So that's when I was like, I know this government thing. I know what's going to happen with that. It's going to be 40 hours. Like, so let me get back to that. So yeah, I mean, and I like it too, because I'm dealing with all different types of animals that are coming in the country now. And I really enjoyed my horse protection, position, because that was exciting to me, because I did have to go to a hill a fair amount and deal with congressmen. So it was interesting. So, and that's the thing too, like when I go to the horse shows in Tennessee, there were some security concerns or issues, people try to come at you and everything. And my boss, he was like, let's go to a horse show in Tennessee first, and let's see if you're going to be okay with it. And so one of the like inspectors like tried to like fight one of the vets. He was like, come outside with me. And so my boss went and ran up in the middle of them. He's like, no, you need to go outside. You don't need to go outside. And then and he's like, well, why not? He just wants to talk to me outside. And he's like, no, he wants to fight you. That's why he's like, you in the country, you in the South. So he came back walking over to me, and he's like, you gonna be okay with this? I was like, this is a normal family party. I'm like, there ain't nothing. I was like, I'm just like, go ahead, finish it. Be done. So,
why didn't you let him go?
Yeah, I'm like, that's normal. I'm like, that's my brothers acting up. So that's how they are.
Yeah. We actually just talked to a guy that shows padded walking horses. And I told him before the interview, I said, look, we got to address it, because we can't do an interview and you talk about this and we not talk about soaring. So we kind of heard his side of the story. I have a barefoot walking horse, so that obviously shows what my position is. But he kind of just talked about the whole thing, the whole process, and how padded trainers and stuff are still like trying to do their thing, but show, how they are not soaring the horses, I guess, or like denounce other padded people soaring the horses, and like there's some good padded people and bad padded people. What do you think about that?
I don't know, like, and I probably know the guy that you talked to, because I mean, yeah, because I remember some people, I try to talk to them and be like, well, why you gotta do this? Like, what, why can't you just have a flat shod horse? And they're like, well, because the competition is hard, and these horses aren't bred to do this gait. You gotta, so we gotta help them. And I was like, but are you helping them? I was like, because it's not, because it looks like to me they're struggling. They're not really getting help, and they don't seem too happy to me. I don't know. But I was like, I don't think it's really necessary, because we tried to work with them to try to decrease the pad. Like, let's go to, like, instead of the 5-6 inch, go to 2 inch. But then some of them did try that, but they weren't winning, so they went back. And I was like, come on. And so yeah, it was hard too for me, because that was the thing. It's like I was in a position that I had to be neutral. And I, like, because I had Humane Society on this side saying, like, do this, just like I could never, eat meat around them. I was going to have salad. It's like, oh, I forgot a salad. Yes. But for real, it was just like, you're like, you're going to eat that. And I'm like, oh my God, no, I forgot. Sorry, people.
No meat.
So, but then you have the other ones that was just like, it ain't hurting them. It's a long way from their heart. So, and I remember actually remembering that when I was growing up, when like something would happen to our horse, just something regular, and Dad would say to me, he's like, it ain't gonna hurt them. It's a long way from their heart. And then I remember, then I heard it again when I was starting to deal with the Tennessee walking stuff, and I was like, oh my God, that reminds me of like what Dad used to say. But I was like, but this is a little different. And I was like, so it was hard, because I do enjoy working with those people, and they're cool and everything. And I'm like, but then it's like, there's a point that there was just like, well, I still need to do this, and it ain't hurting them that bad. So that's where, because a lot of them would be, I remember asking them, like, if you saw your horse like sick and like look like he's dying, would you shoot him? And they're like, oh, no, I'm gonna let him just die. And I was like, and that a lot of the owners would be like, I can't kill them myself. So, and that's where I was just like, and I'm like, so I remember one of them said something about like, well, I said, I don't know, we were talking about something. I was like, well, if you feel like your wife or something needs a little bit, like, shut up, or, whatever, you think that's all right? Yeah, because it ain't going to kill her. I was like, so that's how you think.
Yeah.
So that's how it was like, it's like, well, it ain't going to kill them. But I was like, yeah, but it ain't a good life. Don't you see? It's kind of bad for them to live like this.
Right.
Especially if they have to stay in a stall with the things on from, but yeah.
But the thing is, like, that's also, actually, that's part of the reason why I ended up getting out of horse practice too, was because I did get to work in Kentucky as well. And I remember the first time going to a saddlebred farm, and there was like pop rockets, the little pop rocket things, and jugs of like rocks, like sitting around. What the hell is all this? And then the horse, we went to go see the horse, and it was a Heavy horse, and it was all black in there. It was like dark as hell. And so we bring the horse out, and the horse was like, and I was like, oh my God, you look so scared. And they're like, that's how they want them to be. And I'm like, why? They're like, because then they're like, they look like they're hyped up, and they're hyped, and they're like really like ready to go. And then they would be popping the rocks, like, and so they would be popping higher, and like they're scared. And I was like, oh my God, this is horrible. And he's like, that's how they do. That's how they that's the competition for them. Yeah. And I was like, And so that's what that got me. And then when I was at the hospital, and there was foals that would come out of thoroughbreds, racing thoroughbreds, and, you know, they're insured and everything. And if the owner would come and see the foal and they didn't like him, they're like, put him down. And I was like, but he's all right. Like, why are we putting him down? They're like, he ain't gonna be racing potential. Write the insurance papers up. Done. And I was like, oh Lord, I gotta go. I can't be here no more. I was like, so, because that was too hard for me, because I'm like, I'm too much of a horse person. I can't.
Yeah.
Which is hard now, having, like, you know, I realized, you know, this farm that we have, everyone's like, because we have some sheep, you know, and they keep producing, they're like, you got like 7 sheep now. And I was like, I know, and I'm so scared next year because they're gonna have more. What are we gonna do? Like,
Send some to us.
we're gonna have more sheep, and the babies, they're so nice. They come up to you and they're like, hey, I like cats. I'm like, why y'all like this? They're so nice. And I was like, and I think it's because when I was growing up with animals, I didn't see when Dad would go butcher them or Dad would go sell them off. I just see them there. But now it's like I see them the whole process, like when they get sick and everything. And that's the only thing that me and my husband argue about is the animals. We don't argue about our kids. It's about the animals. He'd be like, well, the chicken, I didn't see, there's only 7 today. So, and I was like, so wait a minute, where's she at? I don't know. I didn't see her last night either. And I was like, you just telling me now? I was like, why didn't you tell me yesterday? I could have went and looked for her. He's like, oh, well, I mean, maybe she come back tomorrow. And I was like, no, I'm good. I was like, but you ain't telling me that we lost a chicken? Like, this is serious. So,
I mean, did you have chicken tacos?
I
haven't seen the chicken.
Yeah, like, I don't know. but yeah, it's just it's just people, like, when they compete with different horses, there are different ways and they do different stuff to them, and it's hard because it is, yeah, they're like, because I remember asking the Tennessee Walker guy when he got caught with doing all this stuff on his horse's feet. I was like, why you put all that stuff? Why you put gasoline and mustard and all that? Why you do that? He's like, I don't know how else to do it. My grandpa did it. My grandpa Paul did it. My great grandpa did it. And he's like, I don't know anything else. I was like, well, don't you want to just stop? Like, why can't you, like,
make
just
that
be like,
decision?
Yeah, he's like, I can't. And he's like, that's all I know. And I'm like,
I made a post about that. Like, that can't be just because you've been doing it that way. You have to learn other ways of doing things.
Yeah.
And find out the way, like, if you don't know why you're doing it, why are you doing it?
Yeah, I think it's the younger people, though, which is going to still take a little while to start, like, saying, like, no, we can't do it. Because we did a bunch of town halls, like, around the whole country, and there would be the teenage kids would come and speak and be like, I saw my grandpa do this, and I want to be a vet. And I realized this is wrong. And this woman jumped up and was like, buddy, shut up. There ain't nothing wrong with this. And he's like, yes, it is, Auntie. It's wrong. And I was like, oh my God, we got to take him with us. And I'm like, they're going to hurt him. Can he get in the car with us? I was like, oh my God, I'm so scared. So, and then this one girl comes, she's like, everyone telling me that it's like wearing high heels. But that's not, I don't wear high heels all day. I take them off, but we're making these horses wear them all the time. And I was like, oh no, there's another one. They're going to take her. She's gone. She's like, girl. It's like so much potential.
Oh my goodness.
But
yeah, I know I've only been to like actual walking horse show at the state fair, and I mean the man was like, does the barefoot horse really have to keep coming through the inspection? Clearly she ain't soaring a horse. But I thought about, like, even going out to a show in Tennessee, like, I feel like there's no point in going to a show and you're barefoot, like, in Tennessee. They're gonna be like, why are you here barefoot and black? Like, come on.
But what I don't understand is it the fault of the judges who are looking for this particular look, or is it the people that's doing it? Because you know, like you said, that you tried to get some of them, they went down to 2 inches, but they weren't winning. So why aren't the judges like, okay, if your horses clearly look like you have altered their natural whatever,
Yeah.
we're not even gonna put y'all in these categories.
No, their judges are all in-house.
Paid.
And
Wow.
yeah, how it all started was because the judges started saying, oh, that looked pretty. I like that. That's nice. We're going to start, you know, because it's not really like, yeah, it's just not so much of, I guess you say, I mean, I don't know if you've seen them, how they canter and stuff like that. I mean, it's like they're struggling, but they're just like, oh yeah, the highest one, that's the one that's going to get it. But it's more of, all the judges are always like the people they all know. And there's supposedly there's rumors about them getting paid underneath and so forth and everything like that. So that's where it gets a lot, it gets crazy. I mean, and it's surprising I got through 8 years of it, because it was nuts. Like they even tried coming after one time, you know, because they all try to get to know you and stuff, like, oh, so your family, you're from Louisiana, right? I'm like, yeah, they're from Louisiana, you know, this stuff. And then the next meeting, and one of the vets had come to me and he's like, hey, I gotta talk to you about something. And I was like, yeah, what's up? And he's like, yeah, I don't know if you heard, but I heard there's an investigation going on with your mom and dad's farm in Louisiana. There's some like illegal gambling going on. And I was like, for real? I was like, well, God, dog. I'm like, if that was the case, I wouldn't be working here because I wouldn't be paying their bills like I'm paying them, but I better find out that. And I looked at him, I was like, don't mess with my family. I swear to God. I was like, that's the last thing you're going to do. And he's like, what? And I'm like, don't mess with my family. And I was like, especially my mom and dad, come on. And I was like, y'all going to try to pull something like that. Yeah, and that's what they would do. They would do that and
intimidate you and stuff.
Yeah, and then one time they pulled out an email. They took all my emails, and they ended up putting their local Fox News and said, like, Dr. Cezar needs to be out of horse protection. She's just in it for the money. She hates horses. And it was because one of my vets that worked and doing inspections, I know how we'd all go back to the hotel, everyone's drinking, and they'd be like joking and being like, I don't even like horses, you know, I'm just here because of the overtime and stuff like that. And I was like, don't do that, because someone's gonna take that the wrong way and they're really gonna think that's the case. And I said that in an email to him. I was like, I don't need y'all to be talking like this. And I said it like that too. So they ended up redacting the email, and it looked like it said, I hate horses and I'm in it for the money.
Wow.
And so they put that in the newspaper, and they sent it to the Secretary of Agriculture and said she needs to be relieved of her duties. And so after that, my boss called me, was like, I need you to just not check any emails, don't answer any phones for 2 weeks. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, because they want us to fire you. And I'm like, I can't believe this. Yeah. And so, and then finally they luckily our boss's boss fought for us. He fought for me, my boss, and the other vet, because I only had one black vet out there in the field doing the work. And they always would be like, oh, he's rude, he's mean, he looks like he's angry. I'm like, he is a teddy bear. He is nothing like that at all. And I'm like, but y'all always going at him, and always was going at him. And what was really unfortunate was that year when they came at me in the magazine or newspaper, and they came at him, and he was like, contact me. He's like, did they write something about? And I was like, no, don't worry about it. You okay? Don't worry about it. But he ended up getting cancer that year, and just in 3 months he had passed. And I was, it's the worst ever. And so, and there's like a couple people had called me. It was like, I'm so sorry. I feel like we did this. And I was like, yeah, y'all did. And I was like, and I was wrong. And I was like, but that's the thing, is like, yeah, and that's when it was that, I think I had 3 more years after that. I was like, I'm not leaving. I got to stay. I was like, because I remember my last phone conversation with him, he's like, you stay on these people. Don't leave. And I was like, all right, for you, I won't. So
yeah,
that
a little bit.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is like, but he would let stuff get to him. Like he would be, because I was like, don't worry about it. And I would try not to tell him when people was trying to do stuff, because I was like, you can't. But that's the thing, you can't, because it's always going to be like that forever. It's like, I mean, look at today. So look at
Yeah.
all the stuff that's going on that you're like, oh, maybe. You're like, no.
But Caitlin, back to what you were saying, I think that it's 100% in the horse industry. The trends are whatever the judges are placing. Because it's like, even in halter horses, even in halter horses, like a lot of those horses aren't functional. Like, you're not actually going to go ride them. They are, these big booty, big shoulder barrels, and then these skinny little posty legs. Like, they're not built
like the size of this.
Yeah, they're not built for actual work. I like how muscled they are. And in order for them to be bred that way, they just happen to have skinny little legs. Like, so I think it's a lot of the trends that are in any industry, any breed, is based on what is making the most money or what's placing the highest at the show level. I feel like. So yeah. On the
when I was in 4-H, like the girls they would go get their horses trained, and I had to ride my horse every day, and I had an old saddle and stuff like that, and I was winning, and they were just like, wow, I can't believe you're winning. And I was like, well, I know my horse. I mean, I'm always with my horse, and they just got their horse from the weekend because it was trained somewhere else. And that's where they hated me, because I had won my last year. I'd always win barrels, and so my saddle ended up breaking on the first barrel. It broke before the leather where the cinch is supposed to go. It broke, and I fell, and the saddle fell right on top of me, and my horse stood right there. And everyone's like, oh, she dead. And Dan's like, no, she
What?
So, yeah. And then
they just gonna look like,
yeah. And the judge let me, they're like, if you can find another saddle in 20 minutes, you can do it again. And I did it again, and I got the lowest speed. And so they were so pissed. They're like, that's not fair. I can't believe you let her race again. And oh well. So, and then I was like, they were so bad. I was like, I'm out. I'm done. It's my last year. And I was like, because they were like, they always just say, because I had a buckskin quarter horse, and they always say like, oh, she matches her horse. So cute.
God.
And I was like,
they both light skin.
And they dark hair, so pretty. Like,
well, they winning.
right. Yeah. Make sure you point that out, okay?
Right.
yes, exactly. So, but yeah, it's crazy out there. It's but that's the thing, is like, they're like with horse world, when they see Black people riding horses and being around horses, and they're just like, oh, I didn't know that. Wow. Like, yeah.
To this day, they don't know that. Like,
yeah, 2020, and we're like still having to have this conversation.
Yeah, so
that's why I feel like that is like a part of the reason why people are like, I'm so glad that you and Brianna are doing this, because we didn't know that Black people do this. It's like, y'all, please get with the program.
Yeah.
It's bad. But I mean, truth be told, I mean, it is majority, but still majority of a lot of white people that's out there with the animals. Like, that's the thing. It's like, when I go to the fair here, I was just like, wow, yep, nobody is of color doing this at all. And I was like, I would hope, I thought maybe.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no. And then that was the thing. Like, I tried to, like, the first 4-H virtual meeting with my son, because they said, well, he's 5, he could be on the clover side for Fortune Farmers. Yeah. So they were like, so how would you say his last name? Martinez? I'm like, yes, Martinez. Something that you see a lot probably on the TVs, I'm sure. Yeah, and his first name, Zay. I'm like, just call him Bubba. Bubba. He's just Bubba. They're like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll do Bubba. Yeah.
What is his name?
Zayden, like Aiden with the Z. So
It's still
yeah.
not that hard.
No,
You know
no.
how many names of some other cultures that I cannot pronounce, but
I know.
you know what I'm talking about.
I always tell my coworkers, like, if you can pronounce ketoconazole, oclacitinib, do not tell me that you cannot pronounce this girl's name in the computer. It's Sharika. Like, don't even get it twisted. Like, that is a you problem. That's not a her problem, okay?
Right.
That irks my nerves so bad.
Yeah. Yeah. But and then I still get called Cesar Chavez. Even though it's like not Chavez, it's and still at work. They're like, Dr. Cesar Chavez would be okay with it. I'm like, wow, you've known me like I don't know how long and you still doing this. Like, that's
Where did that
crazy.
even come from? Like at this
I
point,
was like,
like you're laughing, it's just laughable at this point. It's like y'all not even trying. Like it's just
I
ignorant.
know, that's why I'm just like, I want to contact him back though and be like, you're just joking, right? Like I didn't know you joke like that. That's interesting. You didn't seem like a joking person. They'll be like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean, did I offend you? No, I wouldn't be bringing this up if I like,
Right,
no.
if I wasn't offended, you know.
Yeah, you feel like, you know what, forget it. So
But,
yeah.
but honestly, like, who else is like okay with that? Like at this point, you know, it's laughable, but y'all aren't doing it to other people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's
No.
just that's what irritates me. I'll be like, oh, ha ha ha, but then I'm like, actually, no, I actually do feel some kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
you're not doing that to your people. Like if somebody came in the door that looked like you would be all like, you know, trying to get it right. But with me, you can have like a lower standard. Like you can be incorrect and it can be okay.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, is like, I know we all have different dialects and talk differently. And if that's the case, and that's why I always tell like my bosses or anyone I work with, I'm like, I accept constructive feedback, any type of feedback, I would appreciate it. And yeah, I probably won't have a Dr. Gibson again that will be that blunt with me and straight up with me, because there'd be, oh, I'm offend her, I would say something. And I'm like, no, if you say that, like, well, I feel like you talk too fast, or like, or I feel like you move your head too much or whatever. You know, it kind of doesn't look too politically correct. If that's the case, then tell me, say that, and it's okay. Because he told me that he was like, I'm gonna need, because I remember one time, HSUS was like, you need to have your people out there taking those horses off the trailers on the highway, because they're abusing them, and you could stop them on the highway and they can go to jail. And I was like, I ain't letting my people at all get on the highway and take the horses off the trailer. And I was like, and and the media person there looked at me like, and I was like, what? And she's like, don't you ever do that again. And I was like, what'd I do? And then she's like, twist your head like that and roll your eyes. Oh my God, you are representing USDA. Don't you ever. And immediately
We are a nightmare.
yeah. And he was like, don't ever do that. And then and that's when they let me go to American University. They paid for me to go to get policy training. And I came back all like, oh. So, and my boss was like, I'm so proud. You changed so much. So wow. Look at you grow. So I was like, yeah, you got me my professional etiquette training. So because I jumped the guy at the celebration, because he was like, you better put those wraps back on my horse. And I was like, oh. I was like, not me. I was like, you better put them back yourself. And my boss looked at me like,
That's not how we do this.
yeah. And he was like, don't act like that. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna let him talk to me like that? And I was like, I'm gonna let him. I was like, no. He's like, yes, you are. You're in the government now. Okay, you just walk away. And I was like, yeah, I wasn't used to that.
Funny. This is so me at work right now.
It is her. Like
This is me at work. Like I have so many. I wouldn't say so many. There's only 4, but nobody else gets mentioned in Yelp reviews. But I'm like, I'm sorry. your medical record says if you come back and the dog is in the same condition because they're so matted that we should call animal control. But you bring the dog for grooming and we had to sedate it, and she called back and was like upset because it had nicks on it. And I was like, well, I'm sorry, its hair was matted to its body. So yeah, it's gonna bleed a little bit because you didn't do what you were supposed to do. And she was like, I will come up there and smack the mess out of you. And I was like, well, you know where I work? I get off the lot. And so I went to my boss and I was like, there's a client on the way that's gonna come smack the mess out of you. Let me know when she gets in the parking lot. And my boss was just like, what? And so, of course, they spelled my name wrong in the review. I was like, who is this girl, Aubrey? She does not have a very good attitude. When she gets back in, somebody tell her she got a bad Yelp review. Like, I am all, yeah, I'm like, who is Aubrey? Aubrey? That works here. She's got a bad attitude. Oh I'm God. Like, but if the medical record states neglect, like, don't be upset with me when I'm telling you, like, ma'am, we did what we could. The other option was us calling animal control.
Right. What we were supposed to do.
What the medical record said, I can't help that y'all just want to type in the medical record and not actually say stuff to clients. But I just read the medical record and she got upset. So, and I could go on all day. I feel like in veterinary medicine, you know, they talk about how there's compassion fatigue and high rates of suicide and all this stuff. And I feel like it's for that reason, like people think they can just run all over you because it's their pet and it's just like a little bit lower than them. Like you wouldn't do something like that to your doctor because the doctor is taking care of you. Mm-hmm. So you don't want to piss the doctor off, but you can just talk any kind of way to veterinary professionals and think like you're just going to be okay, or you can just come back. That is what I said. If I could run a veterinary practice like that, restaurant where they say mean things to you all the time, sign me up. That's the job I want. Okay, because I mean, just tell it like it is and like sugarcoat and
yeah, no, that's how it is. I mean, and that's why anytime any of my family is in the hospital, they're like, Rachel, come on, because you're gonna ask them and all these questions and do all this stuff, because that's why I'm like, yeah, I like come in there. I'm like, the surgeon didn't come in here to tell you what happened. Like, oh, okay, bring that number, call the nurse. So we need to have the doctor come in here and say what exactly happened here. Mm-hmm. Like, well, he went home. Then let's call him. Mm-hmm. I was like, as veterinarians, we gotta like call them on the dot every time and make sure to let them know how Fifi's doing, how's this and that. Exactly. They will sue for every little thing and go crazy. And I'm like, gosh, yeah, that's why people get all stressed out in practice and stuff, because yeah, that's a lot. And if you can't like accept it or be like, whatever, throw it off. And that's why I think it's actually, even though it's frustrating, it's hard that we have to deal with so much, weirdness and stuff like that with people saying different things. Mm-hmm. It actually helps build your stamina to deal with crap later, because it's just, you're going to deal with it. So it's like, you'd be like, you know what? I don't care. Say whatever you want. And I'm like, because I know who I am. And I'm like, I appreciate who I am. So, but that's the thing, because if I swear, like, if I didn't have like the growing up I had, or going through school I did, then I could have never gone through the horse protection program and I deal with the stuff I do now. So, because shoot, there's still tweets out there about me like, let's see how Dr. Cezar liked to be shanked, and like, let's send her back to Mexico. And I was like, well, I mean, Louisiana, but not Mexico.
I mean, so. Can we go to Cancun? Like, can you see Cancun? They're like, do I get to choose where in Mexico I can go? I mean, because you're paying.
Right. I was like, are you paying?
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, no, that's the thing. It's like, and I think also too, it's just because a lot of people that go into vet med or become veterinarians, it's because you love animals, and that can't be the only thing, because it's like you got to be like, I can handle it too, and deal with the drive and do the stress. And so I mean, like now me like having to like put a duck down, or our ducks, or I had to deal with my husband because he's like, let's wait. Maybe I saw him eat something today. I think he kind of went a little bit, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna go break his neck. I got to, because I can't keep looking at. So, and that's hard and that's rough, and it's just like, ugh. But then you gotta just kind of shake it off and be like, all right, let me go get a drink. I'll be all right. So, like, because I mean that I don't like putting animals down, but do what we gotta do. So, yeah. So I think the only part now that I'm just challenged with is like eating them if we named them. So that's the part now. Like, oh my God, Beth. I'm sorry, Beth. But,
That's too funny.
yeah.
Oh my God. That is hilarious.
Because that's why I told my husband, I was like, shoot, if this corona stuff keep going, who knows? We might have to start. I was like, thank God Dan did teach me how to, like, and I saw him, butcher a deer and do all this stuff and everything. And like, but I was like, it's just scary.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
do you have any, or what advice would you give someone? You've already dropped a lot of gems for sure, but do you have any advice you would give someone who wants to either enter the veterinary profession or kind of the horse industry as a person of color?
So definitely do not ever, anybody says you can't do it or whatever, or you're not good at math anyhow, or you're not good at science or whatever mess like that. Don't matter. If it's your passion, if it's what you want, keep pushing it, keep going there. Regardless, I always tell everyone that regardless what career, if they're like, no, this is, I want to be this, just keep going and just don't let anyone else tell you differently, because that's they don't know. And usually the people that do know is the ones that is in the career or is doing it and can help you, because that's the thing, you don't want to try, you don't listen to poor people to become rich. So like yeah, I've learned that, and like be like, you do your taxes like this, and I'm like, oh, okay, and now I'm paying back taxes, so I shouldn't listen to them. So yeah, so it's just make sure, get mentors, talk to people, network, and sometimes you may get a network that ain't a good person, that like, no, don't go into the vet med, don't do that. I ain't making no money doing it like that. No, I went to FAMU. They had an ag discovery. It's a high school camp that we did for USDA, and this guy went up there saying how he was an entrepreneur farmer and he wanted to be a vet, but he just decided to go be a farmer, which is cool, but don't downplay being a vet, because he was like, it's too long, and there was all these kids like wanting to be vets, and I was like, can he stop? Can he shut up? That's great. You're an entrepreneur farmer, wonderful. But don't say. I even went up there. I was like, I don't know who you are. I'm sorry, but no, I'm a vet, and it's cool. It's okay. You can do that if you want. Like, but it's great you're doing. But don't, no, kids, you want to do that, keep pushing, okay? Don't let someone else tell you can't. Yeah. And I'm like, so.
I mean, come out here and be both, okay?
I know, right? So I'm still trying to learn how to garden. No, grow tomatoes. So,
one tomato.
Yeah, just one. That would be great. Just one. So, but no, definitely keep pushing, and don't let anyone, like, be a duck, let stuff roll off your back when people say things, because I just always accept it and just be like, they're just ignorant. Family train or home training, they don't know better. So that's what we always say. It's their home training. So,
that's that good training, that political sensitivity training you got.
Yes, yes, just to smile it off now, like, yeah, yeah, that's why I had to learn that instead of saying something back now. Be like, wait a minute. So, so yeah, no,
Future.
yeah, yeah, we'll have to. That's what we all got to do. Just let it roll off. It'll be okay.
Yeah.
But keep pushing, and don't ever think it's too hard to have your own horse or talk to people about that and stuff. And because that's where people are like, oh, you must be super rich. You got all those horses. And like,
Everybody assumes
no.
that.
yeah. Dad, shoot, we had like 50 ponies or something. They're like, man, you're rich. And I was like, we live in a single wide trailer. And I was like, my dad won't let me get the jeans from the store. We go to Kmart. And I'm like, and that's it. I was like, no, we are not rich. I'm like, so yeah, if you want to have a horse, you can. So, because that was the thing too, when I moved here to Maryland, I had my 2 quarter horses that was up with me in Michigan. And when I moved here, I was like, yeah, is there a place that I can board, you think, and have my horses? And this one guy was like, would you compete with them? What are you into dressage or endurance? Or like, no, I just ride them Western, just ride them around. And he's like, oh, well, then you probably should just sell them because you won't be able to afford having them here if that's all they are. It's just your pets. I was like, what? So luckily, I had a friend that I graduated vet school with that lives over here too. And she was like, nah, I'll find you a place. And we found a place, $250 a month. And he was like, yeah, you come, this old guy, he was like, come do it here. And I was like, cool. And everyone was like, wow, you found a place. I'm like, yeah, and it's decent and it's okay. So
yeah, you just have to do your research.
Yeah. And it's sometimes it's just that is a little work you got to put into it just to get to talk to people. So I mean, I'm always telling my husband that too. I'm like, he wants to raise cows for food, but I was like, you better go start talking to those farmers, get to know all those people. And I was like, before you just all of a sudden start doing something. So yeah, but that's it. And always feel free to contact me. You got any questions, anything? So I saw some vet students just graduated on Facebook after graduation, which I thought was cute though, because I was like, wow, look at everyone's having their like pictures taken outside with their gowns. So I was like, it's bad.
Yeah, I definitely requested a refund for mine. I was like, no, let me get that back. It's okay. Chomp, chomp, moving on.
Exactly. They're like, I'm good. No need.
It's okay.
So you're like, you get the paper, you're okay. So,
exactly.
Yeah. And that's another thing too. And it's another myth about vet school. Everyone's always, it's so expensive. I'm going to be in debt forever. I don't know about you, but I'm not a person that feel like, oh my God, I have to have all my bills paid off or I'm feeling bad. I don't feel bad having bills because it's life. They ain't going to ever go away. And so I always tell everyone, there is opportunities for student loans and different things like that, and grants and scholarships and so forth that you can look into as well. And we try to like promote that and say a lot more about that on Facebook and stuff. But don't ever feel like it's too expensive or anything like that, because you can either go in forbearance or you can pay lesser amount on those student loans. But the main thing is that you can have your house and you can have your car and they'll come take that away, but ain't nobody gonna come take that paper away. Ain't nobody gonna come take your master's away and be like, hey, can I get that back? Thank you. Like, so that's why I was like, school is secured, you'll be okay. So it's never nothing that is not worth the investment.
Right.
Because I trust and believe I'm not gonna pay my student loans off until probably I'm 80. So and that's okay. That $200 a month, I'm okay with that. I know. When I have to hear people say like, I paid off my loans, I'm like, oh my God, awesome. I don't care.
Do you want to
Like, I got my Dodge Ram. Yeah, you see that?
Yeah. I know that's right. So are you part of the Black DVM network? I've been following them on Instagram lately.
The girl that started it, Tiara Price, she just graduated from Virginia, Maryland. She's a mentee of mine. She's running that. So she'll sometimes help promote. I posted a picture because she came and rode my quarter horse over here too. But she's doing that. And she also did a scholarship with USDA, an internship with USDA, but they ended up after she gets the scholarship, they've been fielding people and putting people in different positions, or vets, new grads, and they put her in somewhere in Iowa, and she was like, I don't know, I can't go. so she called me and she's like, what do I do? I'm like, if you don't take it, and just go where you think you feel comfortable. I was like, I don't feel like if you're really feeling like, oh my gosh, I can't do this, or I don't want to do this, you'll be okay. And I was like, you got to live your life and be happy with your life. If you're not feeling happy with it, then, there's no reason to have to like go through that mess. So vet school, you went through vet school. That's enough mess. So just, so yeah, definitely. She's good. So Tiara is doing the Black DVM, and the multicultural one is Kara Williams. She's in USDA as well. So, but she's with CDC. Thank goodness. So yeah, because she was like, she was working in the slaughter plants. With USDA, and she was like, I want to get out of here. I don't want to. And I was like, just start applying. And she's like, can I use you as a reference? I'm like, yeah. And they called me for CDC, and I was like, cool. Yes, take her.
Yes.
Be good. So
that's cool.
So that's the thing. We all gotta be cool with each other. Yeah. So it's really important. So definitely feel free. Anybody come reach out to me, text me, or whatever. Sometimes I forget though to put the name in. I'll put like so-and-so student or something. So I remember. But there's one girl that just texted me and she's like, hey, how you doing? I was like, who is this? And then I looked, I'm like, oh, that's that one girl that's at University of Maryland. I'm like, oh, I've been like, I don't know who this person is.
Oh my goodness. Well, go ahead and shout out like where we can find you on social medias with your farm and your personal stuff.
Okay, so you definitely can find me on our Facebook page. We got Z Cowboy Corral. And also I'm on Facebook, Rachel Cezar Martinez, and I'm on LinkedIn. I'm a huge LinkedIner.
I know.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
LinkedIn is so good, though. I was looking at it like, wow.
It's so good. You can contact people on there. Like if you like move to an area or something, I have like contacted so many different people. I contacted someone that was working at Howard University because my niece was interested in going there. And I saw she worked there in the lab, and I was like, hey, how you doing? My niece is graduating from high school. She's interested in going to Howard. We're about to go walk by there and see how things are. What do you know about it? And she was like, don't go. They're about to go bankrupt. Someone just got raped. I was like, oh my God. Okay. Lord. And then she's like, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I was like, good information. I'm like, wow. I was like, yeah, we ain't going there. So I thought it was a good school, and I was like, but she like worked there, and so yeah. And then I contacted other people about a different jobs, whatever, Zoetis, and they were just like, yeah, I'll tell you about it. But no, it's definitely LinkedIn is very good. I've noticed though, I would go to some different conferences, and people would say like, I know you from, and then I'm like, where? And they're like, you're on LinkedIn. I'm like, oh my God, that's kind of creepy. And they're like, yeah, I don't post. I'm just a lurker. I'm not a LinkedIner. I was like, okay, that's weird.
It's slightly creepy, but
yeah, because they were like looking at me, and I'm like, what are they looking at? And they're like, hey, I know you on LinkedIn. We're friends on LinkedIn. I'm like, we're not friends, really, but okay.
Oh my gosh.
there.
Just connected. That's it.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm on LinkedIn, on Facebook, sometimes on Twitter. But definitely, like I said, you can email me too, drrachelcezar@gmail.com. So I'm on there. So, and if you don't hear from me quickly, just come at me again, because I just definitely sometimes need a repeatable, request. Sometimes, like we did here. I was like, they're not gonna talk to me. They were like, you know what, I'm done. This is the third time.
No. I'm telling you, when I find or not when I find, because you found us, but when there is a Black veterinarian, one, and then she's a female, I'm like, okay, so whatever we need to do, we got to talk to her. And she's in the horses, we hardly ever see that combination.
I know.
So I'm just like, yeah, that's, put her on the list.
Yeah, definitely. And I want to try to promote it more and more, especially riding. And that's why a lot of people around here ride English. And I'm like, what? And so, but yeah, hopefully they want me to try to get out to more trail rides. I have a friend, her name's Kimberly Patty. She lives out here, but she's from Louisiana. She's been doing the trail rides. There's this place called Piscataway Farms. I think the Rough Riders or whatever, they're over there. So because the Bill Pickett comes over here too in September. So yeah. But yeah, they'll be
we know
sometimes
some of the same people.
Yeah.
The community's not that big.
No.
And I feel like a lot of times because we say young Black equestrians, people assume that we're only English riding. Me and Caitlin don't ride English. Half the time, Caitlin don't even ride with a saddle. It don't even matter. And I definitely don't ride English. But I feel like equestrian, the definition is a person that rides a horse. Versus cowboy, which I have an issue with. What about cowgirls? So we're kind of trying to be a inclusive name, but not really. I feel like the trail ride scene, they're a cool what did I say? Equestrians. I'm like, have y'all never heard that word before? Y'all, come on now.
Oh my God.
Yes. So we're trying to definitely show many aspects of this industry and, our people. We do all kinds of things. So
yeah. No, it's good. And if you need anyone else or want to talk to anyone else, I don't know if you ever met the Ebony Horsewoman Incorporation. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, we talked to them.
You did?
Well, not real, but we mentioned it. We contacted.
We've been on pause.
Yeah. We've been on pause. Yeah.
We reached out a lot of times.
Yeah.
Well, if you need me to, I can get a hold of her, and because I just did a podcast with her for impact of youth for COVID-19.
Oh, you on that too? I watched a little bit of it.
Yeah, I was towards the end, but I hope this is not gonna be on here. But I was
okay, wait.
Because I was about to tell you.
Okay, yeah, we can edit it out. Yes.
Okay, good. Because I think because my last name, the Martinez thing, because my husband, his family's from El Salvador. But I thought I was gonna talk about Z Cowboy Corral and how it's impacting, I can't get youth or kids to come out here or anything because you can't let them learn about animals. And I think it's really important to try to teach them more about animals. But then I got on there and they were like, can you talk to us about the Latino people having to work in the slaughter plants? And, and they're having
research.
Yeah. And I was like, am I going to talk about the Latino people? And I was like, I thought, and it kind of caught me off guard because I was like, and they kept saying brown and black people, and I was like, it's the brown and black people that's at the plants. It's not just Latinos. And I just kind of I was like, they think I'm Hispanic. So I was like, because of the Martinez thing. And I was like, here we go again. But that's okay. That's why I deal with it. So
Yeah,
like,
yeah, but still, I mean, meh. I am 100% about like researching who you're gonna talk to before you interact with them. It's only fair. Like that's the respectful thing to do if you're gonna ask for somebody's time.
Yes.
Yeah. And then I do know. I was gonna say, there's this one guy. He's a farrier in Lexington, Dwayne Ragland.
I have not heard of him.
Okay.
We need a farrier. That's on our list of professions that we need.
I think he would be good to talk to. And I think he would keep it real too. He is, very much so into Lexington women. But
Understood.
Okay. But he is good for but no, I think he would be good because when I went down there last year, we met and we were talking about how things are and stuff, and he's like, yeah, they still be acting stupid with me, but I don't care. So he's like, because I'm making my money. So yeah, no, it's just how it is. But him, and then if there's anyone else, just let me know. I appreciate it. It's great to get to meet you guys, talk to you, and hopefully maybe just come up to Maryland for a weekend.
Yeah,
come chill here, come
stay in the camper.
Yep.
We will be there.
It's so good. This is actually my office. Like this is where and it's so calm because if I was in the house with the kids, they'd be like jumping around and everything. And
did you hear mine crying in the background?
No, actually, so
no, we can't. I can't hear it, but
yeah. No, the worst thing I got is the rooster, and the people at work are okay with that, but if the kids, they're just like, no.
Yeah.
No, but the rooster, it's great. They're like the rooster. All right. Yeah.
That's right. Well, thank you so much for hopping on the show today. This has been like one of my favorite conversations, honestly.
Amazing.
Oh, good. Me too.
Well, we will. I will let you know when the episode is gonna go live, and then we can kind of, do some promoting before then. I think I have to look at the schedule again, but I want to say it's towards the end of June, so about a month out anyway. So.
That's cool. So, yeah, but like I said, you need anything, please feel free to contact me anytime. So I really am happy to see you guys doing this. This is super good, and we so need it.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Young Black Equestrians with Dr. Cezar Martinez. She is such a resource, so please do not hesitate to reach out to her if you have any questions. Head over to our YouTube channel and hit subscribe and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. See you guys next week.